Daniel Ricciardo, why Lewis Hamilton will be my Renault inspiration in 2019. After 5 years at Red Bull, Ricciardo made the dramatic decision to leave the Milton Keynes-based team and join Renault. But the French team are unlikely to mount a challenge for the F1 championship in 2019. Last year, Renault came fourth in the constructors with 122 points, being Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. And their best finish from Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz Jr. was with fifth on 2 occasions. But Ricciardo is looking to Hamilton, who left McLaren at the end of 2012 to join Mercedes. In his first season with Mercedes, Hamilton finished fourth in the championship. However, since then Mercedes has won 5 consecutive championships, with Hamilton winning the driver's title 4 times. And Ricciardo is hopeful of a similar impact. "I can certainly take something from Lewis's success with Mercedes," said Ricciardo. "It might not feel like it now, but his good run wasn't immediate, and his first season there in 2013 wasn't straightforward. That tested him, and even up until 2014 his career wasn't smooth sailing, so I can draw from his persistence alone. Look at him now. It has given him more years in the sport, because without his success he probably would have walked away a few seasons ago. So, that is certainly motivating and proof in the pudding that it can be done." "We have the resources, so there is no reason why we can't do it." The decision to leave Red Bull without securing a drive at Mercedes or Ferrari means Ricciardo will not have a potential championship-winning car at his disposal. And when asked if he was frustrated at failing to land a move to the top 2 constructors on the In the Pink podcast, he said, "Yes," to answer it bluntly. "At the end of the day, in the next 12 months I still think, and everybody would say this, that Mercedes and Ferrari are going to be the teams to beat. I won 2 out of 6, so it was Seb, Vettel, Lewis and me who had won 2 each. At that stage no one else was really touching us. I felt like my pull, so to speak, couldn't have been any higher. In a way, I did expect probably more out of that, and at the time I think rightly so." Next news: did Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel block Daniel Ricciardo move? Renault stars verdict. Hamilton and Vettel have established reputations as 2 of the greatest F1 drivers ever, having racked up a combined 9 World Drivers' Championship titles. And they go into the new season as the #1 drivers at their respective teams, even if Charles Leclerc is looking to upset the apple cart at Ferrari. And Vettel will have high hopes of securing glory once again as they seek to close the gap on F1 record holder Michael Schumacher. One man who might have an impact on their hopes of winning the title is Ricciardo, who swapped Red Bull for Renault during the winter. Ricciardo could have been teammates with either of Hamilton or Vettel, having been linked with Mercedes and Ferrari prior to his move. And he has voiced his frustration at neither of the pace-setters making a move for him despite his impressive exploits at Red Bull. Has now offered his verdict on whether Hamilton or Vettel put paid to his hopes of joining Mercedes or Ferrari. "You'll have to ask them," Ricciardo said, when asked on Natalie Pinkham's if the duo would have stopped their teams from signing him. "There's an argument for sure. And there's probably an argument to say that they're 2 of the best drivers in the world. They're confident, and they believe they can beat anyone." "To be honest, I don't think they would have stopped it. Long story short, I think organizations as big as Ferrari and Mercedes, if they want to do something they'll do it. Seb and Lewis I'm sure have power, but not enough to say, 'Guys, you're not going in this direction.'" Ricciardo left behind former teammate Max Verstappen when he called time on his stint at Red Bull. Verstappen has admitted he may quit them at the end of the 2020 season if they are not competitive enough. F1 expert Tony Jardine, though, reckons Hamilton could block Mercedes from swooping for the Dutchman. It would be the dream team, wouldn't it? Jardine exclusively told Express Sport, when asked if Verstappen might join Hamilton at Mercedes. Mercedes would love to be able to do that. I'm sure Verstappen would love to go to Mercedes if they're still very competitive. But, I actually think a bit like Vettel, who protests as much as he can about who his teammate might be, which is another reason why Daniel Ricciardo, we all thought he was a shoo-in at Ferrari, Vettel, kept him out. Lewis might be able to keep Verstappen out. Hamilton and CO will get their 2019 F1 seasons underway at next month's Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. Next news: F1 news, how Ferrari decision has helped in Mercedes and Red Bull battle. Nicolas Todt. That is the verdict of F1 driver manager Nicolas Todt, who is pleased to see his client Charles Leclerc driving for the prancing horse. Remain the biggest name in motorsport with a rich history continuing to attract fans from across the planet. The Maranello-based team are going through something of a barren spell, though, with their last drivers and constructors titles coming in 2007 and 2008 respectively. Ferrari have attempted to get ahead of their rivals in the future by identifying top prospects and recruiting them to their driver academy. Leclerc and Alfa Romeo new boy Antonio Giovinazzi are products of that system, while Mick Schumacher has been snapped up following his success in F3. Leclerc has been drafted in to replace veteran driver Kimi Räikkönen at Ferrari ahead of the upcoming campaign. And Todt, who has helped shape the career of the Frenchman, says Ferrari's decision to focus on youth is positive for two reasons. Ferrari understood that it was worth investing in young people, and today it is beginning to reap the benefits of that choice, Todt told Italian newspaper. Once it was almost impossible for a young man to be the possessor of the red, today we have Charles, and it is also nice to have Giovinazzi at Alfa Romeo. A strong young man is a double investment. It drives the car and is an asset removed from competition. Like Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull have a number of potential rising stars on their books. Although the fact Ferrari have welcomed Schumacher into the fold can be seen as a real coup. The reigning F3 champion is the son of legendary F1 record holder Michael Schumacher. Mercedes and Ferrari both cast admiring glances towards the 19-year-old before Ferrari swooped. Former Ferrari president Luca Di Montezemolo is keen to see Schumacher follow in his father's footsteps. However, he says his old team must not pile the pressure on the highly rated ace. I love him, Di Montezemolo said. I've known him since he was in the crib, when Michael protected him from mosquitoes. He is a serious, intelligent boy who must be allowed to grow up. Like father, like son? It's still early, but I hope so. Next news: F1 news, Mercedes and Ferrari frustrations revealed by Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo has now left Red Bull, having agreed to join Renault midway through last season. It was a move which shocked the entire F1 paddock, partly due to some of Red Bull's issues being down to the Renault engine they had. Both Ferrari and Mercedes were linked with the Australian, but the defending champions opted to stick with Valtteri Bottas to partner Lewis Hamilton. And Ferrari chose to hand exciting young talent Charles Leclerc a seat alongside Sebastian Vettel. It remains to be seen how Renault will be able to perform this season and whether Ricciardo will be competing at the front of the grid. But Ricciardo was clearly left aggrieved at not being approached fiercely by both Ferrari and Mercedes. I felt like my pull, so to speak, couldn't have been any higher, Ricciardo said on In a way, I did expect probably more out of that, and at the time I think rightly so. Especially after the first 6 races. I won 2 out of 6, so it was Seb, Lewis and me who had won 2 each. At that stage no one else was really touching us. When asked whether he was frustrated at Mercedes and Ferrari choosing other drivers over him, Ricciardo said, "Yes," to answer it bluntly. At the end of the day in the next 12 months I still think, and everybody would say this, that Mercedes and Ferrari are going to be the teams to beat. Maybe other teams could take a win here or there, but I think they're still the teams to be with short term. Formula One testing gets underway in Barcelona on February 18th, with the season starting in Australia on March 15th. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share and subscribe to your channel to get the latest sports news around the world. Wished health and success. Goodbye.